Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on KDOC TV.
And you don't think that you're over there where people walk, that you have to make sure that car's not going to hit you. That's when I saw the car coming at me.
Run over and trapped under a car, but this elderly woman was saved thanks to some fast-acting police officers.
Growing fear and devastation in Nepal as a new large earthquake hits. That as a helicopter carrying 6 Marines disappears while delivering disaster aid to the region.
Parents fire back after a report many high school students will fail to achieve their diplomas and get to attend college. The changes they're demanding tonight. Good evening, I'm Rudabe Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ona, this is Eyewitness News and KDOC TV, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. An 80-year-old Chiki Liabu was run over and trapped under a car in El Segundo. But the elderly woman was saved thanks to the heroic acts of 3 police officers. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride has more on her incredible story.
It was worse than having a baby. The pain was so, you couldn't bear it.
The pain 80-year-old Chiki Liabu experienced was from the crushing weight of a car on her leg. Surveillance video shows her returning a shopping cart and then getting hit by a Toyota Yaris pulling into a handicapped space. The 80-year-old driver gets out of the car and he appears confused. Meantime, a witness calls 911. Fortunately, the El Segundo police and fire departments are just 1 block away.
We knew the quickest way to get there was to run, so we ran across the street. A young man flagged us down and led us right to where the woman was.
She was screaming for help, so we decided the quickest way to get her out from underneath this car was to lift it up.
Detectives Luke Muir, Eric Atkinson, and Officer Thomas Jones were the first ones on scene.
She's a very strong lady. She showed how strong she was by not showing a lot of pain. But once the paramedics got there, you could see that she was very badly injured.
Chiki was in pain, but to help her cope, she says she relied on her sense of humor and advice from her mother long ago.
Always make sure you have your best underwear on, you have your makeup on, and you polish your toenails. Well, I didn't have my best underwear on that day because I was just shopping, and I didn't polish my toenails, so that was going through my mind.
She suffered 3 cracked vertebrae and a broken ankle and will need several months of rehabilitation. But Chiki's thankful the police came to her rescue so quickly.
I'd scrub their kitchen floor if they wanted me to, but not until next year. I'm so grateful for them.
The driver told police he stepped on the gas instead of the brake. He's not been charged, but the DMV could decide to restrict his license. In El Segundo, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, we have breaking news going on in Philadelphia. We're getting reports that an Amtrak train has derailed and crashed, and there you see live pictures just coming to us from the scene. It does appear that the train has gone off its tracks, and there are a number of rescuers there. It is clearly dark there, so the rescuers you see with a bunch of flashlights that are scouring the wreckage. From what we understand, this is train 188, Amtrak train 188 that was traveling from Washington, D.C. to New York City. It somehow was taking a curve in Philadelphia and somehow left the tracks and crashed. We're getting reports from inside the train that the front of the train is badly damaged. Let's take some photos that are coming to us via social media that are flying through the internet right now. There are injured people. These photos show inside the train. A couple of photos that we are receiving right now from social media. There's another one of the first responders that are hitting the scene. From what we understand and from a couple of witnesses, they say this train is badly damaged towards the front where the accident occurred. The people towards the back of the train are generally unhurt, but there could be a number of injuries towards the front of the train. We're trying to get more information. All we can add to that is this is in the Port Richmond area of Philadelphia. As we get more information, of course, we're going to stay on top of this. We'll keep you posted. This is a fluid situation. Breaking news. Of course, we'll go back to this.
All right, getting to other news now. A deadly deputy-involved shooting in Rancho Santa Margarita. The Orange County Sheriff's Department says the suspect, a man, was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. His name has not been released. It happened shortly before 3 p.m. at a home on Paseo Viento near Melinda. No word yet from investigators on the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
Terrifying scene in Menifee where a man attacked a car full of people, even stabbing an 18-month-old baby. Authorities say they responded to a call about a man identified as Nicholas Garcia attacking a family that was changing a flat tire on the side of Interstate 215 just south of Newport Road. They say Garcia attacked the family, then tried to set fire to their belongings. Officers tasered Garcia and took him into custody. Coming up at Eyewitness News at 7:30, we'll have a full report on that story, including what officers are saying about this attack.
A strong earthquake hit Japan today in the same region devastated by the 2011 quake and tsunami. The magnitude 6.8 quake shook a large portion of northeast Japan just about 3 hours ago. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, and authorities say there is no risk of a tsunami. And less than 3 weeks after a devastating earthquake rocked Nepal, another massive quake strikes. Dozens of people have been killed in the 7.3 magnitude quake, and that number could rise. This as a helicopter from Camp Pendleton carrying 6 Marines and 2 Nepalese Army soldiers delivering aid to earthquake victims has gone missing. This is Department of Defense video from yesterday of Huey helicopters helping in the relief effort in Nepal. The Nepalese Army now searching for the missing chopper on foot in the darkness.
Once again, rescue workers are digging through fresh piles of rubble looking for survivors. One of the world's poorest countries coping with yet another disaster, less than 3 weeks after a massive earthquake crippled the country. Dr. Lucy Jones says Nepal will likely see aftershocks for years, maybe even bigger ones.
In spite of the fact that it seemed like such a devastating earthquake, most buildings didn't come down, but many of them were weakened. And so we will see collapses in the aftershock that probably wouldn't have happened without the main shock.
People in Kathmandu again pouring into the streets. The heavy breathing of one person rushing to safety, all too familiar for people who have been struggling to survive since the last earthquake. At the airport, people scrambled for open space on the tarmac, and workers run for their lives out of a collapsing temple. Nepal's parliament was in session when the quake hit, a camera capturing the moment when the earth began to move.
Thousands of people streamed out of the downtown Tamil district, terrified that some of the buildings were going to collapse on them.
Reporter Sergio Quintana from our sister station KGO in San Francisco was in Nepal when the 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck just after midnight. Minutes later, 2 powerful aftershocks measuring 5.6 and 6.3. Surgeon Kenji Inaba is part of a USC team just returning from Nepal, where they were delivering supplies and rendering aid after the first earthquake.
The monsoon rains are coming, which are going to make things very difficult for the people that don't have homes to live in, which is a lot of people. That'll trigger landslides, which will then bring on all the infectious issues. But there's just so much more that needs to be done.
So far, there have been at least 10 strong aftershocks. That last earthquake 3 weeks ago left more than 8,000 people dead. And you can still give to our Nepal Earthquake Relief Fund. Thanks to your generous donations, we've raised more than $175,000 and still counting. Just mail a check to ABC7 Nepal Disaster Relief Fund, P.O. Box 5967, Glendale, California 91221. Make your checks out to Red Cross Nepal Relief, and you can also donate online at abc7.com.
New surveillance video shows a gunman opening fire last Saturday inside a car wash on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in North Hollywood. The victim died at the scene. Police had already been notified of a fight and were on the way. The suspect was quickly taken into custody a short distance away after police stopped his car. His name is not being released. The victim was 25-year-old Brian Playtez of Van Nuys. Investigators say the shooting was gang-related. And 4 people, 2 students and 2 suspected gang members are all hospitalized after a shooting in Santa Barbara County. The shooting happened right next to the UC Santa Barbara campus. Investigators believe drugs may have been involved. They say the 2 suspects went to the apartment the 2 students shared. A fight broke out. One of the students has a chest injury, the other has a stomach injury. Both of the suspects also wounded. None of the injuries are life-threatening. And the 3rd person has been arrested in connection with a crash that killed 2 spectators and injured a 3rd during a street race in Chatsworth. Karen Balian turned himself into police this morning after being a participant in the race. His bail is set at $3 million. On February 26, a Mustang swerved across the road, hitting a curb and slamming into the crowd. Police say the driver, Henry Gevorgian, abandoned the wrecked vehicle and then fled the scene. He later turned himself into police. Another alleged participant was arrested in March.
The nation's largest movie chains are reportedly under a federal investigation for possible violations of antitrust laws. According to the LA Times, Regal, AMC, and Cinemark have been ordered to hand over the documents to the U.S. Department of Justice. The government is investigating claims by several independent theater owners around the country who say the big chains are using their clout to block them from getting first-run movies. Regal, AMC, and Cinemark have declined to comment.
A rally tonight outside the LAUSD headquarters. Parents, teachers, and students all gathering in support of a resolution that would potentially overhaul a series of classes that are required for college. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter spoke with the protesters.
Making their voices heard, dozens of students, parents, and educators gather outside the LAUSD boardroom demanding full access to college for all students.
I feel like we're spoken for us. A lot of people expect us not to go to college, say, oh, they don't want to go to college. So I feel like the LAUSD courses need to be re-implemented in order for us to go to college, in order for us to have a chance.
Protesters want the board to vote in favor of the A through G resolution, which calls for an audit of its implementation throughout the district. The A through G class sequence is required in order for students to graduate and to meet college eligibility. Many protesters, though, say it is not happening.
It's going to lower the standard of our education, and they won't be able to get into an extended college. You know, they can go to community college, but they won't be able to continue on to a higher college. You know, so that's my concern.
Inside, students and protesters urge the board to approve the resolution.
I am so disappointed that you voted to postpone our vote today.
The school board was set to vote on the motion, but postponed that vote until June. School board member Monica Garcia says it's time for a full accounting of the inequalities across the district.
Investigate what is working, why are some schools at 80% on track, and other schools at 20% on track, and 3, to invest in what is working.
Garcia says ultimately the goal is to increase the district's graduation rate to 100%. In downtown Los Angeles, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
An update on breaking news next. Several people injured in an Amtrak derailment in Philadelphia. The very latest when we come back.
Up next, the fight for equality in Hollywood heats up. The ACLU has now entered the fray. What it's demanding of movie studios. Plus this.
Help! Light up a little, buddy.
Dangerous weather traps horses in floodwaters. How some young heroes helped with the dramatic rescue.
And would you jump out of a helicopter wearing only a backpack and a set of wings for an incredible ride over the Big Apple?
Only? Sounds awesome. Hey, nice day today, but we have rain on the way. We've been telling you about it. Still in the forecast. Details ahead, and that's 7 days.
All right, we are taking you back to the scene in Philadelphia where an Amtrak train has crashed. It has fallen off the tracks and derailed. The front car is badly damaged. We're starting to get a better look at the crash scene. These are live pictures. What you can see is most of the train is down at the bottom of your screen, but in the very center of the screen is a very badly crumpled car that many of the emergency personnel are gathered around. But they are throughout this entity with their flashlights going through the debris, trying to find as many victims as possible. We're getting word that folks in the back of the train, according to witnesses, aren't badly hurt, but there is severe damage towards the front of the train. We're also getting word that former Congressman Patrick Murphy was on this train. He is fine, but he's also trying to help some of the passengers, taking pictures, putting them on social media. We still have not received any word on the number of injuries or fatalities that are involved here. Clearly, there will be some severe injuries in the very least. Also, what caused this crash? From what witnesses say, the train was taking a curve. Somehow, it went off the tracks and then crashed. It was traveling from Washington, D.C. to New York City. More information as we get it.
Oh! Right up a little, buddy. Right up a little, buddy. Keep hollering at them.
And there were tense moments caught on video in Eastland, Texas, as a family raced to save a herd of horses and ponies getting washed away in a flood. Ranch owner Will Barrett says he and his family were out of town when severe weather struck, flooding their pastures alongside the Leon River. He and his sons, ages 12 and 14, didn't waste a second with their daring water rescue.
Of course, we'd never gathered cattle in 3 or 4 foot of water that was rushing either. So it was a scary situation.
Praise the Lord, we got them over there where we can pin them now.
The Cowboys managed to lead all 31 horses and their ponies to higher ground. As it turns out, water had pushed a gate in the pasture shut, trapping the herd in the raging flood.
The ACLU is calling for a federal and state investigation into what they call a bias in the film and television business. It's a gender battle that gains steam on Hollywood's biggest night. And Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda looks at some staggering statistics on women in the industry.
Catherine Bigelow is the first woman to win an Academy Award for directing for The Hurt Locker. The ACLU says there aren't enough women directors and blame it on bias in the industry.
So the statistics alone here paint a picture of discrimination.
According to the ACLU, fewer women are working as film and television directors today than 2 decades ago. It claims women represented 7% of directors on the top 250 grossing films last year, and that's 2 percentage points lower than in 1998. The ACLU got input from 50 female directors who claim they were told a number of reasons why they aren't hired.
Like, oh, we hired a woman this season already. Oh, don't send me women for that job. We also heard a lot of stories about the use of sex stereotypes, saying, oh, you know, women, we don't really want to consider women for this because it's action.
The ACLU says women aren't given a fair opportunity, and some in the industry would agree. We heard Patricia Arquette's speech at the Academy Awards.
We have fought for everybody else's equal rights. It's our time to have wage equality once and for all, and equal rights for women in the United States of America.
And we asked people today about female directors in Hollywood.
Where I work at, it's 50-50. You know, we come up with great ideas. I don't think it should just be men. It should be, you know, given the chance to anybody who can do it. And if it's women, then more power to them.
I think it should just solely be based on talent. It shouldn't be based on male or female or gender whatsoever. It should go to the most talented person.
I think we all be better served to have more women directors to get different perspective, a more enhanced perspective on whatever the topic is.
The ACLU wants federal and state civil rights authorities to look into this and believes that government oversight is needed to resolve this issue. Reporting from Burbank, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, hey, there's some rain in our forecast, perhaps. That's what we've been wanting.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
In the middle of May.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome, Jonathan.
Well, I'm Megan Alpha, 7000 HD shows we are dry at the moment, though, so no shower activity today. In fact, this is a time-lapse from Angeles National Forest. Some good stuff right there. Nice images. Just a few clouds flying up over the peaks. And the highs were considerably cooler this afternoon. I'm going to show you in a second how much cooler. But look at that. UCLA only 70 degrees at UCLA. Simi Valley only hit 75, and Santa Ana barely got up to the lower 70s. It was a cool day today. Tomorrow's going to be even cooler. We're going to continue the cool down, bring some rain chances in the forecast, maybe some drizzle as early as tomorrow morning. 61 right now at Laguna Beach, and other temperatures around the area looking like this. If you remember yesterday, we had a really warm day inland and coolish by the coast. Today, everybody is seeing those 60s. In fact, it is 11 degrees cooler right now in Van Nuys than it was this time last night. 10 degrees cooler in Ontario and Riverside than it was this time last night. So everybody has seen a drop in those temps from this time yesterday. And again, that's a trend that's going to continue. We have an area of low pressure. This trough is really digging in, increasing that onshore flow. That's where we're getting that cooler air moving in for the next couple of days. This area of low pressure is going to dive south and bring plenty of chances of rain, a lot of moisture, plenty of energy. And the rain chances look like this. I'm going to show you right now some of the timing on the future rainfall forecast. Start you up tonight, bring it through Wednesday. Not looking for really anything in the way of rain, but maybe some drizzle in the morning, possibly from the thick marine layer on Wednesday. I stop it at Thursday, 5 p.m., bullseye over Los Angeles. By Thursday, we're already seeing some showers up in the northwestern counties by the afternoon time for your commute home. Looks to be wet, maybe some storms along with this system. That's a chance that's in there that we could see later on Thursday and even into Friday. We're keeping that chance in there for Friday as well. So the last 2 days of the work week, getting a little busy and wet. Maybe some storms around. Tomorrow, cooler. 69 Los Angeles, 70 in Anaheim. We're dropping temperatures a couple of degrees. 70 in Mission Viejo. Wrightwood should top out around 57. And your 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County is shaping up, at least the first half, pretty wet and cloudy and cool. I like it. It's a weird flip-flop. We had spring. Now we have the winter. It's confused. Mother Nature doesn't know what's going on. 69 this weekend on Saturday, about that on Sunday. So the weekend is nice. It's dry. A little coolish, but overall it's looking pretty good. Valleys, IE, you're in the game too for the rain. 3/4 of an inch, potentially even more than that. In the foothills, you could see over an inch of rain from this system when it's all said and done. And we are looking for some snow in the mountains too. The beach forecast has some rain for you guys as well, up to about 1/2 of an inch. 63 for a high on Thursday, Friday. But next week looks dry, mid-60s. The mountains again, over I'd say about 5,500, 6,000 feet. You have a chance of that snow accumulating over 4 inches, 4 to 8 inches, in fact, and even some rain in the high desert. Temperatures in the 60s for Thursday and Friday. Back to you guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Get ready to meet the new dynamic duo. The daredevil known as Jetman has a new sidekick. He's teaming up with a fearless skydiver to show everyone a new way to fly. And ABC's Nick Watt shows us why not even the sky is the limit.
The Jetman, Eve Rossi, now has a friend, a protege, skydiver Vince Refe. They're hot-dogging over the desert outside Dubai. Above this futuristic city, they free-fall from a chopper, pick up speed. Then, the 4 jet engines on each 120-pound pack propel them at up to 125 miles per hour. Side by side, head-on, a little bit of upside down, and past the world's tallest skyscraper in a death-defying dance. Rossi, a professional pilot who developed this fantastical suit himself, has flown solo many times, but never before like this. It's human formation flight. Why, oh why do they do it? Eve, take it away.
We love to fly. We are exploring the limits. I'm not playing with death. I'm playing with life.
Nick Watt, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Wow.
Looks like fun.
Unbelievable. I'd never do it.
I would never do it either, but I like to look at the video.
You bet.
Up next, a multi-billion-dollar deal involving Verizon and an internet giant.
Plus, cats on the beach, where these felines have moved to a local coastline, and why.
And ahead at 7:30, the search for a missing Orange County couple intensifies, where police are focusing now.
Verizon is buying internet pioneer AOL for $4.4 billion. The deal gives Verizon, already the nation's largest wireless carrier, a big stake in both mobile and advertising mediums. Verizon will also gain control over significant AOL content, including the Huffington Post and TechCrunch. AOL, which is perhaps best known for its 90s area dial-up service, has transformed in recent years to an internet media giant. The Verizon AOL deal is expected to close this summer.
Some oceanfront property has been taken over by a colony of cats in San Diego County.
There's another one down there. There's another one down there. There's another one. There's 40 of them. I guarantee it.
There's another one. On this Ocean Beach jetty in San Diego, dozens of cats are living on the rocks. They're being abandoned here by their owners, but so many animal lovers come to feed them each day that they're actually thriving.
Did you see that? Cats just drinking water and feeding them.
Loving life.
Updating the evening's top stories at 7:30, including the latest on breaking news. Several people injured in an Amtrak derailment in Philadelphia.
Plus, a family brutally attacked after their car breaks down on a local freeway. What the assailant did to their belongings.
This is Eyewitness News on LA 56 with live breaking news.
Our top story at 7:30, breaking news out of Philadelphia where an Amtrak train has crashed, injuring several people. I'm Rutabe Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ono. This is Eyewitness News on KDOC TV, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And here's a live look at the scene right now. It's rather remarkable. You see a tremendous amount of emergency personnel there on the scene. These, again, live pictures from a helicopter over the scene. From what we understand, this is train 188, a Northeast Regional Amtrak train that was traveling from Washington, D.C. to New York City, and for some reason the train hit a curve It lifted off the tracks and then derailed. The front of the train is said to be badly damaged, and we're getting reports that there were probably dozens of injuries. At least a couple of hundred passengers were on this train at that time. Quickly, emergency personnel descended on the scene, and since that time, they've set up triage, and they're trying to rescue as many people as possible. Now, here are some photographs that we received off of social media. In this first one, you'll see injured people inside the train. So these photos were taken just seconds after the accident occurred by people inside the train. Another photo here shows first responders getting there and trying to help as many people as possible. From what I understand, the fire department and police personnel got there. They tried to move as many people out of the train as possible. Another one injured, being put on an ambulance and sent to the hospital. Again, 240 people said to be on this train, dozens of injuries, but specific numbers we just don't have yet. Also, no confirmation of fatalities just yet. And then people outside the derailed train cars just kind of watching what's going on. We don't know if those were passengers that are now basically in a daze afterwards, or those are other personnel that are on the scene. But you can see the perspective there, how large these cars are compared to the size of the people. So emergency personnel right now sifting through this train. This is going to be a process, but right dead center in the middle of your shot is a very badly crumpled car, and you see other cars lying on their sides down below that crumpled car. But that one car, probably the first car in the train, that's the one that they said received a tremendous amount of damage. And the condition of the people inside that car, we just don't know. People from the back of the train, we've heard from them on social media, and they said that they are doing okay. It's people towards the front of the train that were badly injured. Another picture we're getting here, clearly this is the triage center that is set up right there on the location. You see people lying there. You see fire personnel trying to give them aid. And then you see a number of other civilian personnel that are there. We can assume possibly that they're there to help, or they're perhaps passengers on this train. Fluid situation. We don't know exactly what happened. Still trying to get details, specifics on how many people are hurt in this. And clearly this is going to be an all-night event, and a lot of questions before we get a whole lot of answers. We're going to stay on top of it. We'll bring you more in this newscast.
All right, another big story tonight. A man is under arrest in a bizarre attack on a family on the side of the 215 freeway in Menifee. The CHP says he even stabbed a toddler in the back seat of the car. Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez has details on the charges this man now faces.
A toy fire engine and burned remains of a baby book are among the items torched and left alongside Interstate 215 in Menifee. Early Monday morning, California Highway Patrol officials say 44-year-old Nicholas Lopez Garcia attacked a family changing a flat tire.
Subject broke the driver's side window of the Mazda hatchback and then walked to the rear of the vehicle and broke out the back window with this plastic object.
They say Garcia crossed several lanes of traffic, grabbed a plastic freeway marker, and used it to attack an 18-month-old baby boy.
Reached in for an 18-month-old male child, which was sitting in the back seat, and tried pulling the male child out of the car, and then began using the plastic object as a weapon, stabbing towards the 18-month-old child.
When the family could not stop the attack, they got back into the car and fled. They then called 911. The 18-month-old suffering from cuts to his neck and hands.
The mother and 18-month-old male child were transported to the hospital with severe but not life-threatening laceration.
Following the attack, the CHP responded to the area and found Garcia.
The suspect actually lit fire to the objects that they left at the scene.
Garcia is now booked on attempted murder, willful harm to a child, assault with a deadly weapon, resisting arrest, and for being under the influence. Garcia is currently being held on $1 million bail. He is set to be arraigned tomorrow. Reporting in Temecula, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A group of activists is demanding justice in the fatal police shooting of a homeless man in Venice. The activists spoke out today during the police commission meeting. They're asking for full transparency in the investigation. They want Police Chief Charlie Beck to release the video of the shooting of Brendan Glenn, along with the name of the officer who shot Glenn.
The officer that shot and killed Brendan Hill last week does not belong to be working inside that department. He does not belong in the police department. He belongs in jail.
I think I've been clear that I have great concerns about this officer-involved shooting. Those concerns continue, and we need to work through the investigation before there's any conclusion.
Chief Beck says he has no plans to release video for now because it is evidence that could be used in a criminal hearing.
Tonight, growing concern for an elderly Fullerton couple. They left home Sunday for a Mother's Day outing and disappeared. Eyewitness News Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere reports from Fullerton, where the two make their home.
Cecil Knutson and his wife Diana Bedwell, longtime residents of this community in Fullerton. Neighbors worry about what may have happened to the couple, seen here with their granddaughter.
They're very sweet. If you were broke down in the middle of the desert and you needed to get to the next gas station, they would take you. Maybe their kindness caught up with them.
The couple missing since Mother's Day. The two stopped off at the Valley View Casino in Valley Center. Surveillance video captured the couple playing the slots, then leaving the casino around 2 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday. They were driving a 2014 white Hyundai Sonata, California license plate 7EHE981. They had planned to go to their son's home about 100 miles away in La Quinta for dinner, but never arrived.
You know, you take two of the most important people in your life, and then they're taken away from you, and you don't know how. They just vanish. It's pretty devastating.
Detectives told the family cell phones belonging to the 79-year-old and the 68-year-old shut off soon after leaving the casino as they traveled on Highway 15 near Deer Springs Road.
My mom doesn't turn her phone off. My dad doesn't turn his phone off. They don't call me without saying, hey, we're on our way, we're leaving the casino now. The fact that they didn't do that is an issue for us.
Knutson is 6'2", 225 pounds. He has gray hair and green eyes. Bedwell is 5'3", 240 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes.
If my parents were carjacked, if they were taken against their will, then we need clues in order to find them.
So far, authorities cannot say if foul play was involved or if the couple got into an accident. If you have any information, call the San Diego County Sheriff's Department at 858-565-5200. In the meantime, the family is also concerned because both the husband and wife suffer from diabetes and they need medication. In Fullerton, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Another success story for LA County's Safe Surrender program. We learned today a mother recently turned over her newborn daughter at a hospital in Linwood. The little girl will now be adopted into a loving home. Safe Surrender allows mothers to give up their babies if they're 3 days old or younger at hospitals and fire stations. This latest one is the 6th in LA County this year and the 130th since the program began in 2001.
New crash test ratings for popular midsize SUVs. Which ones passed and which did poorly? The results up next. What's this?
Self-driving cars coming under fire. I'm Rob Hayes. Why a local watchdog group is blasting Google. That story coming up.
And there's some sun for you from time-lapse Angeles National Forest. That's about the last you'll see as we head to the rest of the forecast. Details ahead. Some rain chance.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has released its latest crash test results, and it found that only 3 of 7 midsize SUVs from the 2015 model year performed well. The Nissan Murano and the Jeep Wrangler got the highest ratings, followed by the Ford Flex. The Dodge Journey came in at the bottom of the list.
Well, you may have spotted them rolling around your neighborhood, Google's self-driving cars, but now they're coming under scrutiny. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes explains who's being critical and why.
It's the promise of a safer future. Google's 6-year-old endeavor to create cars that drive themselves is supposed to lead to fewer wrecks on the road.
There's no steering wheel in the way.
But the campaign has hit a speed bump. Google revealing that its cars have been involved in 11 crashes during testing. And now the Santa Monica-based nonprofit group Consumer Watchdog is blasting the tech company's driverless car program.
Its driverless car won't have a steering wheel, won't have a brake pedal, won't have an accelerator pedal. You'll be completely at the mercy of the robot driver.
Consumer Watchdog released this video that is highly critical of Google's efforts. Google says it has more than 20 self-driving vehicles in its testing program, moving through everyday traffic, each one with a human safety driver on board. The number of crashes, the company says, shouldn't be shocking. The director of Google's self-driving car program writes, over the 6 years since we started the project, we've been involved in 11 minor accidents, light damage, no injuries, and not once was the self-driving car the cause of the accident. But Consumer Watchdog questions that claim.
Californians don't know because Google will not release those results. So we need full disclosure.
Even though Google is required by law to report every accident to the Department of Motor Vehicles, Consumer Watchdog says those accident reports are shrouded in secrecy.
We put in the request to see the records, and we're essentially told, well, the records exist, but those accident reports are confidential.
The group wants Google to turn over all records regarding accidents and is also pushing government officials to require all driverless cars in the future to have some way for a human to take control. In Santa Monica, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Sounds like they've still got a way to go. All right, well, drizzle, even possible showers on the way. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak has his complete forecast up next.
Plus in sports, going to be a history-making night for the Clippers.
And a first-of-its-kind class at one local school, and it's just for girls. Why educators want them to learn so much about drones. Welcome back. Let's head over to meteorologist Jonathan Novak. Some rain moving across the country.
Yeah, you know, it's been a busy week for the eastern portion of the country, all the way actually from Texas through the Great Lakes, and Texas looking forward, unfortunately, to another 2 to 3 inches of rain as this system pulls up to the northeast over the next day, and it looks like that's going to be progressing into the Midwest by Thursday, Friday. They have more rain ahead. For us, yes, we too have some rain in the forecast. Let's zoom on in. We are dry right now. You know that if you're outside today. It was a pretty good day. It was cooler than yesterday by quite a bit in some spots. In fact, 72 in L.A., not a huge difference in L.A., but some further inland saw temperatures 10 or 11 degrees cooler, and tomorrow will be even cooler still. Let's look at some of those numbers right now. Right now, you are at 66 in Ontario, 67 in Riverside. Good evening. In Santa Ana, it is 62 at this moment, and 61, another cool day in Santa Monica. This is why we have an area of low pressure that's to the north. We have a big trough that low pressure is associated with. You can see right here just really has dug into the western portion of the country, and that's accelerated those onshore winds, giving us a lot more moisture in the air. We're going to have a real thick marine layer tomorrow, could even provide some drizzle in the morning. Area of low pressure that's going to be diving to the south over the next day is going to mean rain chances as early, well, drizzle tomorrow, but as early really as Thursday. Let's look at the future rainfall forecast. I can tell you exactly here how the models are shaping things up as our forecast looks forward into Thursday and Friday. I stopped this on Wednesday to show you the rain is still well offshore and to the north and northwest of us. Going into Thursday, I stopped this in the early morning time, 6 a.m. Your commute Thursday morning. Already some rain chances showing up in some portions, in the northwestern portions of our area. We could see some of that creep into the Ventura County area. By the afternoon, the late morning afternoon time, a bullseye over Los Angeles. We could see showers and storms. That's a possibility. Some of those storms could bring down pours, and maybe in the mountain areas, we're looking for snow. That's in the forecast. But in the foothills, an inch or inch and a half of rain in the foothills over Thursday and Friday for that time frame. For tomorrow, we will keep it dry, just the chance of maybe some drizzle with that marine layer in the morning, 69 in L.A. We're looking for Ontario's high temperature. I got 72 for your forecast, and Temecula should top out around 70. Your 70 forecast for L.A. Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. Tomorrow is the last day before the storm moves into Southern California. Thursday and Friday, chance of rain is in there. Decent, very good chance. 66 on Thursday, 67 Friday, so cool rest of the week. Even the weekend is pretty cool. But we're going to keep it dry. A lot of sunshine. Sunshine's back for Saturday and Sunday, just in time. Valleys, IE, your forecast calls for 3/4 to an inch of rain, mid-60s Thursday and Friday, and the beach forecast looks about the same, a little less in terms of the rainfall total. 63 for a high Thursday, Friday, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch, and maybe in the mountains over about 7,000 feet, 10 inches possible for snow. Believe that. And in the high desert, about 1/4 of an inch of rain, lower to mid-60s for Thursday, Friday. The weekend's looking good, though. All right, Dallas has more at ABC7 11. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Clippers can close out the Rockets tonight and make their first ever Western Conference final. Fact, Houston has not lost 3 consecutive games all season long, and they've lost 2 straight to L.A., getting blown out in Games 3 and Games 4. And getting a historic road win may come down to their floor leader, Chris Paul. This will be his 3rd game since returning from a hamstring injury. He played 26 minutes in Game 4's 33-point dismantling of the Rockets Sunday night. Paul finished with a double-double. Coach Rivers says the foul fest that took place may have helped Paul rest that sore hammy during all those free throws. DeAndre took a playoff record 28 foul shots in the first half. He wants to see the game have more flow.
Once we get out and run, you know, me, Blake, Spencer, Baby, guys like that, then it opens it up for JJ, Matt, Jamal, Austin, guys like that who are playing really well in the series.
NHL's Western Conference Final is set, and both the Ducks and the Blackhawks are getting a lot of rest. Anaheim hasn't played since Sunday. Chicago hasn't played since Thursday. The top-seeded Ducks come into the series winning 8 of their 9 postseason games. The Blackhawks swept the Wild and took 2 of 3 from Anaheim during the regular season.
We just got to be simple. You know, we got to get pucks in net, get traffic. The more we shoot, the more it seems to create opportunities for us. And even if we're not scoring on the power play, creating some momentum for our team.
For the latest on Deflategate, we heard from Tom Brady today through his agent, Don Yee. Yee blasted the Wells report, questioning Ted Wells' independence because his law firm does a lot of business with the NFL. Yee says Brady plans to appeal his 4-game suspension. Wells clearly miffed by the criticism.
I think it is wrong to criticize my independence just because you disagree with my findings. I think those attacks are out of bounds and unfair and just plain wrong.
Finally, Yogi Berra turned 90 today. Here are some fun facts about the Hall of Fame catcher and manager. As a member of the New York Yankees, Berra appeared in 14 World Series and won 10 championships, both of which are records. He was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame back in 1972.
New summer class is teaching girls how to fly drones at a local high school. Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara paid a visit to Marymount High, where the focus was also on the computers that control the drones.
This week, ABC7 launched its first ever drone during a live newscast in Los Angeles, giving viewers a bird's eye view of the coast in San Clemente and Descanso Gardens. Our drones were manually controlled, but this drone being flown today at the all-girls private school Marymount High is controlled through a computer program and is teaching girls how to soar into careers they might not have considered before.
It is an incredible skill and a really important skill for everybody to learn because of the implications that it has on every industry, from medicine to legal to agriculture to fashion to sports.
Victoria Friedman's workshop today is a preview of a summer course soon to be offered at Marymount High School for girls in the community. It's basically a computer programming class focused on coding and its many applications.
The skill is becoming the new literacy, and to leave girls out of that seems absolutely ridiculous.
This afternoon, in about an hour's time, the class learned how to code the drone's flight path. They had a few emergency landings, but overall it was a success.
You have to present it in a way that's very applicable to things that they're interested in, like flying the drones today.
This past summer, I realized that I loved coding when I started a leadership conference, and they had something called a hackathon, and we coded for like a day straight. It was the craziest thing I've ever done, and it was the coolest thing I've ever done, and I knew that I wanted to do it for the rest of my life.
And there's still time to enroll. If you're interested in the summer course for your daughter, just contact Marymount High School. At Marymount, Giovanna Lara, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
They're going to have crazy skills when they get out into the workforce.
Yeah, we might have to hire
Leave
them.
us behind.
Yeah.
All right, well, up next, an update on tonight's train derailment in Philadelphia, and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. K-9 officer Robin is critically injured in the line of duty. She was on the hunt for burglars when she was attacked. How you can help in her recovery. Plus, the fictional town that's home to The Simpsons opens tonight at Universal Studios Hollywood. We're there with all the excitement. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
All right, quickly, we want to bring you back to that train derailment in Philadelphia. These are live pictures, again, from overhead. We understand that these pictures are dark, but from what we can tell, these are emergency personnel that are moving some of the victims out of the area, loading them up eventually on ambulances. We're also getting reports from our sister station, WPVI, that a lot of the people who are not badly hurt are being loaded onto buses and being bussed out of there. We probably believe that Amtrak is taking care of that. In the meantime, let's take a look at some of the photos that we're getting on social media. This was taken right after the accident. Inside the cars, you see the people slouched over. They are injured. We're getting reports that as many as 60 people are hurt on this accident. And this photo is interesting because this is from a congressman who is on that crash as well. We're going to have a lot more on this coming up on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock.
Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on KDOC TV. Law and Order is next.
This is ABC7 weather.
Hey everybody, Jonathan Novak here. All right, we're almost there. The chance of rain is on the increase starting Thursday into Friday. Storm system on the approach will bring maybe even some